Hey guys, so our 10X collaboration is finally here. This is the video that they're putting out on their YouTube channel. So go over there and check that out, support them. Their information is in their descriptions. This collaboration was back in June. It's August now, or end of August now. Our next video after this one will be a behind the scenes video that we shot. So you'll see the professional video that they did, and then our video afterwards. So I hope you enjoy that. On a serious note, I was watching some other powder coaters channels, like I always do, and most of you guys do too. I saw some negative comments on there. Just so you guys realize, for us to put content out, not only is it a lot of our time and dedication to put out in front of you guys, what we do, there's no right or wrong, and a lot of you guys know that, and I think some of the people that are negative pretty much are clueless. Just because I do something one way, that works for me. Somebody else may do it another. As long as the outcome is the same and is a good product, that's all that matters. Same with media. One media that works for me in my environment may not work for somebody else in their environment. So when you watch other content creators YouTube channels, support them. Don't be dicks to them, unless you're going to get your ass out there and you're going to do videos yourself. So okay, enjoy this video and look forward to the next video, the behind the scenes. Hey guys, so finally it's here, the collaboration that I've been talking about for a couple months now. We have Jake Valancourt. He's partner of 10X Engineering Materials. And to my left, we have Bob Nash. He's the owner of Greener Blast Technologies. He created a vapor blaster we're gonna be using today, and we're gonna go over. It's pretty much ahead of the rest that's out there. So we'll definitely go over that just so it's an idea if anybody's going vapor blaster wise. So today we're taking medias that are actually used quite a bit. You got 10X, we have aluminum oxide, and we have green diamond, something that everybody's been using. They use all three of them. We're gonna take them. We have painted rims and we also have rusty rims. We're gonna take each one of them. We're gonna do a powdered, not painted. We're gonna do a powder coated rim and a rust rim. We're gonna time it and we're gonna see which media cuts the fastest. We're also, when we're done, we're gonna keep them out over a couple nights and see if any of them flash rust and which ones stay cleaner. Because as you guys know, one of my issues is flash rusting if I don't get right on it immediately after blasting. So that's what we're gonna do, and hope you guys enjoy. Okay, guys, so we're at the end of the day. We ended up doing all the blasting down here. I'm with Jake from 10X, and I'm with Bob from Greener Blast Technologies.
Correct.
So we're just going to kind of do a little Q&A on questions that we have, and then talk about what we ended up seeing today. Jake has a YouTube channel. During watching a YouTube channel, I come across Super Oxa Alloy, which you guys created, correct?
Yep, we sure did.
And what's behind the Super Oxa Alloy? What is it?
So what's unique about it, it's an abrasive blast media, obviously, and it's very versatile. You have all kinds of uses that you can use the material in different kinds of applications. We're in anything from little tiny cabinets all the way up to the world's largest ships and everything in between. And there's not a lot of abrasives that has that breadth of applications that are actively being used all the time, right? So the product is different than everything else on the market because we're melting our material down to a liquid state, almost 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit, and then we instantly cool it. The super is implying strength. It's really strong. The particle is about a 7.5 on the Mohs hardness scale, but that doesn't tell you the whole story. The particle is actually a lot stronger than other mineral abrasives. It doesn't have any crystals in it. That amorphous structure means there's no crystals at all. The particle has high impact strength and a lot of resistance to breakage on impact. Instead of shattering like most other abrasives do when they hit, it actually bounces off. So that bounce means you deliver a lot more energy. Think of it kind of like when a ball hits a baseball bat and the bat breaks, the ball doesn't go anywhere. But with 10X, you're always hitting a home run. You're getting a lot more energy out of it. And that's really different. And the Super Oxaloy, it's a startup company. Back in 2018, we started it. And when we went to start get our certifications, because it's SSPC, AB1 certified, CARB approved, it's about to be on the mil spec and the QPL, getting all that done, the industry basically said, you don't fit the mold of the existing categories, so you need to create a new category. And that was fine,
Right.
Great, but we had to figure that out. And what we came out with was, this is a super oxaloy. That's the category. And there is not another super oxaloy on the market that's anywhere near our price point, right? We're way under $1 a pound. All the other materials that could be fit into the super oxaloy are $2+ a pound. And yet we're outperforming even those materials. So it's just making that technology affordable and available to common blast operations instead of super high-end stuff. And that's really what the innovation is. We're making blasting more affordable, essentially.
And you guys are creating it with heat, right?
Yep.
I saw that in your YouTube channel.
That's right. It's brought to a liquid state, and then it's instantly cooled to make an amorphous particle. So it's basically a tempered, super strong particle.
Okay, like a lot of media now is jagged or it's rounded. With 10X, you guys kind of hit the gambit of everything in the bags, correct?
Yeah, we sure did. Our particle shapes are unique. That's one of the characteristics that nobody else has. You've got mostly non-angular pieces in there, and that does a few things. One, we get the perfect profile. We don't get embedment though. You noticed right away after we did the wheel with 10X, it was like, whoa, that's brighter. It's not because we're painting it or doing something behind the scenes to make it brighter. It's because the particles are all bouncing off, whereas with everything else, you got a little bit of embedment. Some of the particles are left behind, so it makes the metal darker. And that allows you to go faster, but it also allows you to have a higher cleanliness, right? You're getting a better blast afterwards, and so you get better adhesion, which means at the end of the day, your customer's happy because now you have a higher quality pipe.
So going off exactly that goes right into rust blooming.
Yep. Our abrasive is not mined, so there's no salts in there, there's no free iron in there, and because it doesn't embed, you don't have the ingredients necessary to start the corrosion process. Whereas some of the medias we use today would actually have some of those ingredients. You see the difference a day or two after blasting a piece of steel and it sat outside in the rain or whatever. You're going to see the 10X is going to hold the blast for days, if not weeks. Whereas other abrasives, you're going to start to see spots of rust, within hours, if not a day.
And we should see that because tonight it's supposed to rain and you're going to be coming back
Yep.
tomorrow. So we'll definitely be able to get see what the difference is between aluminum oxide, 10X, and
the green diamond.
Green diamond. There you go. So on the other avenue, we got the media, and then we got the containers that get rid of the media. In your business, what do you prefer? Do you prefer dry blasting, wet blasting, and then why do you prefer the certain one when it comes to blasting anything?
Well, we're the manufacturer of the grainer blast machine, so we don't really deal with dry blasting at all. And obviously, we're partial to our equipment,
Right.
and we think we build the best anywhere in the world. Not many companies do what we do. We're very efficient at what we do. We build really high quality machines. Just about any kind of application you can imagine, from small little bitty things like a wheel to aircraft carriers. And we've actually supplied machines to blast an aircraft carrier. So we've been involved with all kinds of things in between. Major oil companies use our machines offshore. We've been in Cape Canaveral, blasting the water tank at the launch pad. Like I said, USS George Washington. We sold a couple of machines to the Army. Fort Drum has one. There's another Army facility that has one as well. So, we have we're just little guys that build good stuff. So it really well.
And you guys create them in-house. You build them in-house, except for the water pump, right?
Well, we buy parts and pieces to assemble them, but everything is, if we don't build it in-house, we farm it out to a local company that fabricates things for us. Our blast pots, obviously, we're not qualified to build the blast pot, but the little machine that we have, we build that blast pot because it's not doesn't have to meet ASME because it's under the restriction for that 6-inch pipe.
What sizes or what size do you go from? I know you do the little one, the 007.
Mm-hmm.
What sizes do you get up to? Like, how big do you guys get up to?
We build the biggest wet abrasive machine in the world. We build a machine called 1200 FSU. It comes with a 30-inch diameter blast pot, holds 12 cubic feet of grit, an 1.5-inch blast hose all the way to the nozzle with number 10 nozzle.
That's an animal.
It would blast one of those wheels in about 5 seconds. It's a serious blasting machine. We kind of look at things differently than everybody else out in the business. We try to throw things in volume, of air. Air is really, again, like we talked earlier, air is a crucial part of the way you get this work done. And volume is key. Pressure is one thing, but you got to have the volume behind the pressure to make it all go in a blasting machine. Everybody uses whip lines and compress things down, but we found that the way we build this 1200 machine with the number 10 nozzle on the other end with free flow couplings and what have you there on an 1.5-inch blast hose, it's not anything that you use for small things. It's a big machine to do big surfaces like a side of a building or an aircraft carrier or what have you there. But again, you can turn it down and do smaller things if you want to put smaller hoses on. But nobody builds anything as large as that.
That's a feat in itself.
Yeah, I actually enjoy running the thing. We don't blast, but when I do demos and stuff like that, it makes a blast pattern about that big around, the size of a softball. So it's quite an effective machine.
Right.
You go home at the end of the day, you've worked a day's work after running that thing for the day.
So if you're interested in anything like Bob's machine, you call him, you let him know what you're trying to do, and he'll guide you along. He won't just sell it to you. He wants to know what you're going to be doing with it, and he'll try to guide you with his plentiful knowledge to get you, so when you leave his place, you're happy a week down the road, a month down the road, a year down the road. When it comes to these rims, what do you guys think about what we saw today? I mean, you can literally look at them and see that the 10X is white. And we'll see more tomorrow. What I experienced today is, like, especially blasting with 10X with water, it was 1:40 where the other ones were like 5 minutes. It was night and day difference.
Yeah, so our setup was a Schmidt pot. What size was that pot?
6.5 cubic foot.
So 6.5 cubic foot Schmidt pot with a micro valve tube. And we got every abrasive dialed in so we could get as efficient and as fast a blast as possible. But we didn't thin it out to try and stretch it. We just wanted to get the best speed we could. And so it was really a race, right? What could go as fast as possible? We want to see that. Where's our speed limit? And we did all that, had plenty of CFM. We ran a number 6 extra long Venturi nozzle. That's the Kennametal nozzle. And we got the results we got. And then we switched to the Greener Blast 007 Compact. We went from a pretty sizable large blast pot to a machine that's only designed to hold a single bag of 10X. And everything in there is 3/4 inch lines. It's not inch lines. So we went to a smaller, more compact, more affordable type piece of equipment. And yet we got the same or better speed. So, the whole thing that we saw today was in doing the removal with the Greener Blast technology, we're actually able to get more speed, even though we had sort of like less horsepower, if you want to look at it that way. So the efficiency that you gain in that technology is just stunning. And we saw that today a couple different ways. The speed is obviously higher, but also, here we are on the river and in an area where you don't want to be creating a bunch of dust. Now the 10X is low dust, but no matter what you do, there's some dust when you blast dry. We didn't have any dust. There was, people were able to stand nearby, looking at this thing, talking about it comfortably. When we were vapor blasting, when you're dry blasting, you have to stand back. You got to have dust containment in certain areas. There's a whole lot more to it. So you have maybe a little bit more money up front, just a tiny bit on the front end with the vapor blaster, because it's a bit more sophisticated of a piece of equipment. But it saves you on all these other steps, right? You got lower consumption, so you don't have to buy as much abrasive. You don't need all this containment, and you don't have to worry about neighbors and whatnot bothering you or getting in trouble creating a big dust cloud next to a river. You do really have some advantages there, and we saw all that today. It was interesting to see, and we've obviously seen with the other Greener Blast machines, the ones that would be comparable size to this, it's just unbelievably fast. You put the Greener Blast and the 10X together. And we also had the 207. If you want to talk a little bit about that, Bob, help us understand why we use that when we're doing steel. There's some advantages to that as well. It's sort of like a package deal. You got your 10X, your Greener Blast, and your 207, and you're off to the races.
Yeah, CleanWorks 207 is a really unique product. There's other rust inhibitors out there in the market that we've used in the past, but the CleanWorks 207 has the ability to process the steel the right way. It's not the salts, the chlorides, they do exist, but the FES is really important. Which is non-water soluble iron sulfide, which is the culprit to all rust and corrosion. The CleanWorks 207 has the ability to remove the FES. So if you remove the FES, that's a nucleus for all the other things that attach to it. If you remove the FES, the rust doesn't come because it doesn't have the iron
right
there in order for it to come. And it's also a very economical product. On the front end in the bucket, it's a little bit more money, probably 20% more on the front end, but it treats twice as much water as well. So the competition will do 250 gallons for a 5-gallon pail, and this treats 500. So you pay a little more on the front end for it. I believe that you will get a better end result with the product. Creates a nano coating in between the substrate and the coating. We've had really good results with the CleanWorks 207. We've left the steel panels out 30, 40 days, rained on 4 or 5 different times, and still as white as the day we blasted. Eventually it does rust.
right
And again, you don't advocate you blast it and leave it for 30, 40 days.
but sometimes things happen.
You blast it and you put a paint job on it as fast as you can.
Right.
But, conditions are unique and things like that. Maybe it doesn't last 40 days or 30 days or maybe 10 days. Maybe it lasts 3 or 4 or 5 days. But the bottom line is, there is actually a window that coating manufacturers require you to put a paint job on. This kind of helps you out if you run into a little bit of hiccups. But it's a great product. We work really closely with them.
So one thing I did notice, like we said, we use 3 medias. In my opinion, and this is my opinion, by far, like the 10X was the fastest. Aluminum oxide was behind that, and then green diamond was a pain. But behind that, some of you guys, I know, like, we're a small company, so we look for cheaper items. We usually go to Harbor Freight, coal slag. But the things we find with coal slag is, yes, it's cheaper, but we're running it 1 or 2 cycles. So yeah, $10 for 2 cycles. Something with like 10X, we got some about a month ago because we knew this was coming up, and we're still using it. And we went through quite a few rims and everything. So even though the price was a little bit more, the media in itself is going through a lot more cycles. So instead of having to buy 5 bags of coal slag, we're just buying 1 bag of media. And what do you guys normally get out of the use of your 10X compared to other products?
Well, in your cabinet, you're using the Epix MP, and typically people tell us that it's going to last anywhere from 25 to 40% longer than aluminum oxide. We don't like to say a cycle count, but we have a lot of customers who are saying they're getting 10 plus recycles, and with the coal slag, they only get 1 or 2. So, what does a bag of coal slag cost at Harbor Freight?
Harbor Freight's expensive.
All right. Well, what is a bag of coal slag? What's 50 pounds going to cost us?
You're looking at $10-15 for a Tractor Supply.
Yeah. Okay. And then the bag of 10X, delivered, you're probably somewhere around 45 or $50, something like that, with shipping for small quantities. We ship at UPS ground right now. It's kind of expensive, but that 1 bag is going to do the work of 10 plus bags. So you do the math. There's your savings right there.
Yep.
Your cost per square foot with the 10X is going to be lower. The consumption is lower in terms of pounds per square foot, and you obviously get better speed. And then, of course, you look at what your product is like after you blast. That's the number one, right?
Yep.
Even if it was all the same cost, look at how much higher quality you get. That's what the customer wants to see. I've had people call me up and say, we thought the wheel that we blasted was powder coated because it was so bright after blasting. They didn't realize that there wasn't a layer of clear coat on there until I looked at it really close. That's something else.
Yeah, absolutely.
You just don't get that with anything else. It's pretty wild.
If you want it brighter, then you put 10X in the grainer blast machine, and it's even brighter.
Well, we
look at those wheels over
there.
The one that we blasted with the wet machine, the grainer blast machine is
brighter.
It's
the
brightest.
brightest.
It's the brightest. The only thing about our machine is that we don't get recycles out of it. It's a spray to waste program, but we use 80% less than conventional dry blast. So it's a spray to waste program because whatever you may be blasting off becomes contaminated in with the grit, and now you can't really clean it because it emulsifies. Dry is a little bit different. You could classify it, recycle it, but ours is a one and done. But again, you're still getting good value out of it because you're using 85% less, 80, 85, depending on what you're doing, less than dry.
Well, I have no more questions, you guys. Questions, comments, anything?
Well, BJ, after you saw everything today, we did the math, we saw the numbers, we saw the speed, we know what the costs are. What's your, sort of your breakdown, right? You did green diamond, you did 10X, and you also did aluminum oxide, and we also did some dry and some wet. At the end of the day, how do you sum it all up from what you saw?
I'm hooked on 10X. We've never really we've always went the cheapest way, just because as small as we are, efficiency and cheap is a way to go. But with 10X, it makes a world of difference. The profile coming out with some of the stuff like coal slag, when you powder coat over it, if you rub it or you get gloss black, you will see the hills and valleys. We use 10X and we don't have those hills and valleys. So that alone, to where we don't have to put a second coat on to kind of cover it up, it's worth it. Me personally, will be using 10X. Even if we have to buy a 50-pound bag each time, just because I know we're running off a month right now in our cabinet. So I at least know it goes a month, and we're not sure how long it takes to break down. It hasn't broken down on us yet. And then here, I can see the difference in when we first started talking, your big thing was how clean it looks and everything. And we just did it with all the other stuff, and the comparison is night and day between them.
Yeah. So what I saw today was 10X was definitely the fastest, wet or dry, and even faster with the vapor blast technology. But the green diamond actually seems a little bit brighter than the aluminum oxide. At least on the powder coated wheel, it's kind of hard to see the difference with the
and that green diamond grit was the lowest, so it should have cut the fastest.
It was the most aggressive.
Yeah, most aggressive. That's the right word.
And it wasn't the fastest.
Right.
Yeah. So.
And that's what I expected too. It's more aggressive than what we were using on the other ones, and it ended up being the slowest one. So.
Yeah, but It's just the color difference. The aluminum oxide actually had the darkest glass, right? You
Yep.
the most embedment in the aluminum oxide, which is really interesting because a lot of people hype up aluminum oxide. Oh, it's a great grid. It recycles all the time. Maybe it does, but you get a lot of embedment, and it's kind of like the close leg problem. It's not going to help your life. I mean, that's hurting your profile. You're gonna get those peaks and valleys. You're not gonna get that beautiful finish with the A-locks. So I was a little surprised to see that. This is the first test we did on aluminum wheels with all these different abrasives head to head. We're more used to big steel jobs, that sort of thing. So on
Steel
the aluminum,
plates and all that.
yeah,
stuff.
on the aluminum, you got a softer substrate that it's gonna be more sensitive to those variations, and you can really see the difference. So yeah,
The big thing about all those grits are they're angular.
Yep.
They're all crushed up. 10X is not. 10X, being the way it's built, there's a lot more surface area. So when you have an angular product that, close like being angular as well, the points hit, digs a bigger hole. And then also you've got peaks and valleys as well, but they're all sharp and pointy. The 10X, because there's so many different shapes and sizes, there's so much more surface area. So that's why speed, and then your profile is a different type of profile that's much better for your life, only putting one coat on.
Right. Yeah, before we started using the 10X, we used coal slag through our blast pot, and we used aluminum oxide in our cabinet because honestly, aluminum oxide was the best I found out there until we, of course, did the 10X, and I'm hooked. So
great.
I'm good with that.
All right. Well, BJ, we really appreciate you bringing us up here and spending the day with us.
Absolutely.
It was great to learn more about your powder coating operation, how you do things, and we got to introduce you to the 007 Compact. You're the first person, I think, who's got a whole program going here where you get to see the real deal in action. So it's a brand new machine, brand new design. Check that out, BringerBlast.com. If you want to learn more about 10X, 10XEM.com. Thank you for bringing us up here, BJ.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for coming.
Absolutely.
Thanks.